Welcome back to another episode of War of the Visions. We are going to do the top 10 most underrated TMRs today. I know you're all here for PvP and arena videos, but every now and then, I gotta have some fluff pieces in there. Okay, starting off with an honorable mention, the Acadia gun. This is the Luarta TMR. It's got a decent amount of attack and accuracy, but the stun ability is actually where it's at. Usually, weapons that have special effects is 15%. This is 20%. Probably because it's UR. It's also the only UR weapon type TMR, which is really rare. Makes you think that Luarta went from MR to UR because of her popularity. At any rate, and this gun is super niche because it only works for Luarta. I don't know of any other gunner that has predictive fire that can equip a gun. But basically, this goes hand in hand with the predictive fire skill. Usually, predictive fire is pretty cool because you can predictive fire somebody and they die. And if you have this gun equipped and you proc predictive fire, they either die or there's like a 20% chance of them getting stunned, which is also hilarious. Because then you can't, either your guy's dead or your guy can't act next turn because he decided to attack you. And the cool thing about this is it's ranged. So it's a range AP generating weapon, because you generate AP when you hit somebody, that has the chance to stun your opponent, which is actually decent. It's not, obviously it's no +5 Ras Al Gethi, but if you're not into the +5 scene, this is a very good weapon, and should deserve some consideration. Even though it's got like 57 attack less than an assault Ras Al Gethi, I think that 20% stun and the chance of her predictive firing stunning somebody is awesome, very high. So I would say this is probably I'll put this as an honorable mention. Realistically, the reincarnation bow, the Fina charm bow, can also be a honorable mention. However, it's not as good because the stats are kind of crappy. Well, the stats are all over the place and you only get 50 attack, 60 magic or something. And the other thing with it is there's no one that can really predictive fire into a charm. So there's that. You might be able to counter shot into a charm though, but the bow in itself's damage is kind of too low for it to really work. Okay, on to our number 10 spot, Sacred Steps. These are not all that underrated, that's why it's number 10. Most people use it for the speed. Let's be honest, most people use this for the agility. The computer will almost never use this Purify ability, even though it's insanely good. This is actually really good in class matches and manual PvP. It offers you an ability to remove a lot of these BS status effects. Mostly silence and paralyze, really. Confuse as well. So this is good for like countering the Agrius TMR, but obviously the computer is too dumb to really use this. So this is more of a manual PvP thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't remove charm as well. So mini Isuna, it does remove Petrify though, not that people ever use Petrify, but in case you ever fight a Mustadio. Okay, on to number 9, Inga's Staff. This thing is pretty awesome. This is the Shell TMR. 180 magic is not that great, but it gives you 10 magic attack and 15 spirit penetration. This is a good replacement for Platinum Staff, because it's staff type. It's weird because it says rod type. Anyways, it's a good replacement for Platinum Staff and that Sakura Staff if you're starting out and you don't have anything, or if you're just too lazy to get it +5. Decently competitive because of the spirit penetration, actually. Okay, Dariel Sword next. Dariel Sword enables you to get an extra 30% AP, which is actually very useful, although the stats kind of suck on it. The problem here is this is mostly used on Mont and Engelbert, so that they'll use Taunting Blade early. because Taunting Blade takes 44 AP, and that's a ton of AP. I believe even with this, you won't be able to Taunting Blade second turn unless you use a TMR skill with 42 AP to start with. I believe the 29 AP, the 29 TP skill, shoot, what's it called? The gut skill. Oh my god, Courage does not. Oh my god, it's not called Courage. Immortal Spirit. There we go. Immortal Spirit 29 TP will not generate enough to do Taunting Blade even with this sword. That's my understanding. But basically, this sword is meant to give to a tank so that they can use Taunting Blade right away. Doesn't really work for Agrius. It's mostly for Mont, Dario, and Engelbert. But it effectively makes or breaks a character if you have this sword. So this is very crucial. Next is Magicite Mask. This is the Whisper TMR. 5 resist to everything is actually really awesome. 2, it's an accessory, so you can equip it on anybody. This Dove's Embrace. The computer is not smart enough to use this ability properly. I guess what you can really do, and this really works in the older map, but really what it can do is you have your tank run up. This works in that ice field map if you have Mont. Basically, you have your guy run up, and then you use Dove Embrace. So this will work for close maps, where if you spam Dove, if you use Dove Embrace on the tank, they basically get free Sentinel, which is decent. Realistically, it's a little bit better in like manual PvP if anyone ever uses this, because it's like all of a sudden you have Sentinel, or you can give Sentinel. That makes it even better. And the range on this thing is actually not bad. I believe it's 4 range, so very underrated TMR. This TMR allows you to get to capped out resist with a lot of units. So I would say it's really, really strong. Often overlooked. Next is the Magical String. This thing is the Salir TMR. Salir and its accessory, so everybody can equip it. But 20 Magic Killer, 20 Man-Eater on magic attacks. This is actually really good for any kind of mage. It will really push the damage that the mages need to kind of kill the opponent. That's probably the reason why people get Salir, to be honest. Salir is actually decently strong, but the TMR is pretty much the reason to max him and not max her and not leave her at 89. But yeah. And you can get to 100 Man-Eater, 100 Magic Man-Eater with Rosa if you equip this, which is actually pretty cool. Next is Saiga. So this is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Really? Oh wait. This should be number 6. I am losing my mind. Yeah, number 6. Number 5 is Saiga Gauntlet. This is actually decently good in Arena. 5 agility, awesome. And it's a gauntlet, it's not even boots. Gauntlet, 5 agility, 12 evade. So this is mainly for evade teams. Basically what it does is it gives you 12 evade, and then you can use essentially the equivalent of hide plus dragon banner. That's how good this skill is. Once you use hide and use fleet of foot, this is really used for Ketone and any evade team, to be honest, but mostly used for Ketone so that she can sneak into the back line of your opponent and then hit them with stop. Hit them with Saiga Shadow Bind for stop, paralyze, whatever. So this is actually really good for those stealth, especially for stealth teams. The extra jump may or may not be as useful as haste compared to that Dragoon TMR from Kane. However, it's not that the Dragoon TMR doesn't have that decreased hate, so you might run up front and just get wrecked. So there's that issue as well. By the way, all of these TMRs are not limited. I did not include any of the limited TMRs because those are really good. And the problem with limited TMRs is you either have them or you don't. You can't really chase them. Calculator robes. It's even got that little cleavage opening right there. Ildira Ultimate. Very, very underrated. Also very interesting. Unfortunately, the range on this thing is very small. However, the height range is really high. Ildira Ultimate is very interesting because it's Calculator, and Calculator is kind of like that other class that has Quicken, and people don't really expect it. But if you think about it, this robe opens up a lot of strategy. Essentially, transposition is kind of an okay niche skill if you ever need it, but transposition plus Quicken, that's very interesting, and it will open a lot of doors in manual PvP. Computer is not smart enough to use this at all. So basically, what you want to do here is your tank runs up front. Your calculator, provided that this is fast enough, goes right behind if you have it maxed out. I believe as it maxes, the speed will increase. Not that it's really worth maxing this, but in the event that you, for whatever reason, have this maxed out, and you use swift transposition, think of it as all of a sudden you move an extra 2 spaces, and it's kind of like surprise, boom! You hit them with a Mediana Cosmo Plume or something, and it's crazy. Also, you can use this on like any other mage that they're not expecting to get quickened on, or a move shift into a huge nuke. Realistically, at the really high-end PvP, people will check your gear, but a lot of times people base their actions off of how far they can zone you, or how far away you are compared to them, and this extra 2 move is huge. This extra 2 move basically gets you in range and nukes them right away. So, very good surprise tactic here. And next is vclan Mask. Niblu is pretty new. It's not that underrated. It is very big for evade teams though. A lot of evade teams that you use, effectively need kind of illusion, or they need a buff. They need a buff to go over to get kind of evade capped. So you need something like either Shadow Cast, Utsumi, illusion, whatever, right? This effectively gives you AoE. Evade, which is insane. Unfortunately, this is only useful for gunners. So realistically, this only goes in like a Niblu evade team if you ever decide to try and go evade gunners, which is probably a doable thing, to be honest. But it being an accessory is supposed to open it up to everybody, but unfortunately this is only equipable to range skills, range jobs, so that's very awkward. But a 30% evade buff on a bigger AoE than illusion is very unexpected and really good for evade teams. Speaking of evade, 100% physical evade. This is awesome well, this is really mostly used for manual PvP. But in the event that you run into some kind of super stern, team, or because Dwayne Kane super stern is very, very popular, or you can run into, if you're not running into evade, you're very likely to run into something like super stern Agrius Killfay or something like that, or super stern Orlando Agrius, any kind of those things. And this cloak, what it essentially allows you to do is run straight up at them with Mediana, and you pop this ultimate, or you pop this TMR, and then they can't hit you for a turn, and then you finish running up into their face and then blowing them up with Cosmo Plume. This is actually used in a lot of like Mediana Bomb Cheese builds, the Howler TMR, so it's actually freaking awesome. This only is effective against full melee teams. In a smaller map, You can give your Medina Shadow Runner plus Shikuchi, and then you have her equipped with this, and then you have her run up, and then use this first turn. She might pull a lot of fire, but from your enemy physical DPS, so you basically just hunt physical DPS with them, because physical DPS is weak to magic. You equip this on Mediana, run up with Shikuchi, they can't hit you, and then second turn you run up and you blow them up with the Cosmo Plume. So this is actually both effective in Arena and manual PvP. Less so in manual PvP, but this is also one of those surprise tactics in manual PvP that you can kind of throw out and keep in your back pocket and kind of just throw out there. And the whole reason I made this video, one of the most underrated TMRs in the game. It's funny because people say Rob and Mashiri sucks, but they have some of the best TMRs in the game. This is probably the best TMR in the game for match battle. Well, free matches, because they're too dumb to update the map. Basically, what this does is it gives you it's AOE quicken. You can think of it as AOE quicken in a square shape AOE. That's huge. That's better than the That's better than That's better than Ildira Ultimate. Pretty much, this armor can single-handedly win you the game against a lot of teams in free matches. If you're running this armor plus a really fast character, let's say someone like Vinera who has tune-up and Thief Lore, and you run Ildira. Basically, this will make your whole team lap stun because it's pretty much AOE quicken, and then Ildira Ultimate, another AOE quicken, and then you basically just wreck them, right? Because you got 2 turns. You would have had 2 turns to attack them. So this armor is enough to single-handedly win you 90% of your class matches, provided that you're faster than your opponent. Unfortunately, I don't think that works with Vinera. I believe Stern is probably one of the best people to use this. I'm sure there are other ones, but basically, you equip a unit that has like maybe 110 agility or something, and then basically you get 3 turns. You get 2 cycles before your opponent even gets a turn, and they just get wrecked. They kind of just sit there watching you put armor into bells, and then Ildira use Ildira Ultimate, and then your guy with the bells just hazard crashes them and they're dead. Basically, hands down best armor, best TMR in the game for free matches, because it exploits the closeness of the map. Also very useful in class matches, by the way, in that in those like all of a sudden surprise, and you just hit them with a AOE quicken. They're not expecting that, and basically you lap your opponent. Lapping your opponent in manual PvP is insane. Basically, it allows you to bypass their front line and kill their back line, kill their healers and support easily. So easily one of the best manual PvP armors. I don't think the AI is smart enough to use this though, so that's really unfortunate. But there you go. There's the top 10 underrated TMRs top 10 underrated TMRs in the game. Thank you guys all for watching. The Ultimate G signing out.